So, yes. So we'll try to see working with the networking socket module. Okay. It's already uploaded, Pandas. Pandas notes are uploaded. Already it is uploaded. Yes, sir. Pandas notes is uploaded already. Uh, so networking or socket module. Using Python, we can able to develop networking applications or network programs, right? So what is networking is generally general meaning of networking is, so you'll say it is a logical or physical link between two or more devices. There's a logical or physical link between two or more devices. So that is called as networking here. Generally, what is the advantage of using networking is sharing resources. Networking allows sharing what here? Resources. Now, these resources can be hardware resources, or it can be what here? Software resources. So networking, how many programs will be there? Two programs will be there. If you're talking about networking, in networking, how many programs will be there? Two programs will be there. So generally you call it as client, and one more is called as which one? Server. How many programs? Two programs. One program is called as a client. The other program is called as which one? Server. So using networking module, what you're doing it, or using a socket module, what you're doing it, you are developing a client program, you're developing a server program, and then you make these programs to communicate with each other. These programs you make it to communicate with each other, right? So you're developing a client program, you're developing which program? Server program. You're developing two programs. One is client and one more is what? Server. For that, Python is provided one module. What is that module? It is provided socket module. What is the name of the module? Socket module, right? So what is, now in networking, you should know some fundamentals before developing networking application. You should know some fundamentals. What is a fundamental series? What is IP address? Okay. What is IP address? So generally, IP address, every system in the network is given one unique number. Yes or no? Every system in the network is given one unique number, and that unique number, generally it is called as which one? IP address. Every system in the network is given one unique number. For example, suppose if you take mobile network, one person want to talk to another person, then what you should know? Mobile number. Okay. So in the same way, you should know where your program is running. So that is nothing but what your IP address. But remembering IP address is somewhat complex, right? What is IP address is? In networking, each device or system is identified with unique number which is called as which one here? IP address. This IP address is given by network administrators. This IP address is given by network administrators. Who give the IP address? Network administrators give the IP address. So what is the host name is? It's nothing but somewhat remembering IP address is somewhat complex. Then this IP address is wrapped within one name, and that name is called as what here? Host name. Means you recognize the system either with IP address, or you recognize the system either with what? Host name. Okay, yes. So suppose if you somewhat difficult to remember the number, mobile number, then you save with some name so that communicating with the name is more simpler, right? So your IP is wrapped within one name. That name we call it as what here? Host name. Then in networking, how this client and server programs talk to each other. For example, if one person if one person want to talk to another person, if one person want to talk to which one? Another person. How one person talk to another person? You required one mediator. What is that mediator here? Language. So X person want to talk to which person? Y person. How X person talk to Y person? Using one language, right? So this language can be called as one protocol or not? Yes. It defines some set of rules and regulations. Suppose X person is talking in which language? English. Then Y person should know which language? English. In the same way, how client program and how server program communicate with each other. So what you require here? Protocol. What you require here? Protocol. What you required? Protocol. Suppose if you take internet. In internet, two applications communicate with each other using what? HTTP. HTTP stands for what? Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So client uses HTTP and send a message to what here? Server. And server receive which message? HTTP message. Anyways, these two programs are communicating by using one language called or protocol called which one? HTTP. So what you required in order to have a communication between the client and server? Some protocols. Some protocols. So what is a protocol? Protocol defines some set of rules and regulations to have communication between two programs or application within network. Protocol defines set of rules and regulations to have communication between two programs or what? Applications within network. You have a different protocols like TCP, UDP, HTTP, FTP. All these are what? Different protocols. You are using different protocols here. All these are different protocols. Okay, so socket module. Okay, yes, this is a protocol. And I said there will be two programs in networking. One is a client program and one more is what? Server. Client who send a request to server. Server which receive the response from the client and process it and give the result back to which one? Client. Okay. Yes. What is a port number? See, every server is identified. Every server is identified. Every server program is identified with one unique number, and that unique number you call it as what here? Port number. So in one system, you can have multiple server programs. How you recognize each server program with what here? Port number. So every server program is bind with port number and IP address. Suppose if client want to connect to the server one, what he'll do first? He'll connect to the system first, then connect to which one? Server one. But what is the ID of server one? 80. What is the address of the system? It is just like this is house number and this is flat number. Okay, this is house number and this is what? Flats. This is flat number 1, 2, 3. So if I want to go to flat number 1, first I should go to the house, building or apartment, and then I'll go for what? 1, 2, and what? 3. So every server program identified with one number. That number is called what? Port number. Every server program is identified with one unique number called which one here? Port number. So this port number is logical number, but two programs cannot have the same port number. So port number on which the server listens the request of which one? Client. So that is called as a port number. These are fundamentals. Port number. Now to develop this networking application, so Python provide which module? Socket module. Socket module is a default module which comes with the Python software. Socket module is a default module which comes with Python software, and this module provides two protocols to develop networking applications. One is TCP and one more is what? UDP. TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol. This is connection oriented, means client will connect to what? Server. Server accept the connection of client and then send more messages. If it is connectionless, which is called as user datagram protocol. So there is no connection. Client will write the message in the network. It is a responsibility of networking routers to send a message toward destination. So that is not reliable because we don't know whether message is sent or not. But here, in order to send a message, first client will connect to the server. Until client server doesn't accept the connection of client cannot send a message to which one? Server. So that is called as which one? Connection orient. That is, even internet work on the top of which one? TCP. Until you don't establish connection, you cannot use anything. Okay. So that is which implementation? TCP. Transmission Control Protocol is a connection oriented communication. Then what is a socket here? So socket is an endpoint communication between two programs. How these two programs in networking, how these two programs will have a communication by using a socket. Socket. General meaning of socket is, now server will have one socket. It will create one socket. Server will create one socket. And this socket is bind on the system with IP address and what is that? Port number. This is a socket. Which socket here? Server socket. Okay. Now assume that this IP address is some 120 dot some 0.0.1. Now this is a client. Now client want to connect to which one? Server. Now client will plug in, right, to this socket. Then client will have one socket. Client will create one socket. Using this socket, he'll plug into which socket here? Using this socket, you'll plug into which socket here? Server socket. Now this server will accept the connection of which one? Client. Now server holds the connection of which one? Client. So plug in. So using, this is client socket. Client socket plug into which socket here? Server socket. Client socket plug into which socket here? Server socket. And server socket accept the connection of which one? Client. Then it will return one socket that holds the address of which one? Client. So here, how this how this communication of this client and server is done by using one object called which one here? Socket. Socket, generally you'll say no, plug-in. So if you want to consume the power, you plug into what? Socket. Okay, here client want to use the services of which one? Server. So client plug into which one? Server. So this is server socket and this is a client socket. Client socket plug into which socket here? Server socket. Okay, now there is a two types of sockets again. One is TCP and one more is what? UDP. A socket which implements TCP protocol is called a TCP socket. The socket which implements TCP protocol, the socket which implements TCP protocol is called a TCP socket. Okay, it's called a TCP socket here. The socket which implements the socket which implements TCP protocol is called which socket here? TCP socket. The socket which doesn't implement, which implements UDP is called as which socket? So this is connectionless, but we'll be talking about only TCP, right? Because most of the applications uses which one? TCP, and it is reliable, right? So then how you create a socket? Now there is one class. What is the name of the class you have here? Socket class. What is the name of the class you have? Socket class. And socket class, this is a internet address family. INET address means internet IP address family means it will try to define, is it using 16-bit addressing technique? Is it using 32-bit addressing technique? Is it using 64-bit addressing technique? And then what is the type here? Socket stream. What is the type of socket here? Socket stream is, it is which socket here? TCP socket. Stream is nothing but, stream is a connection between two endpoints, that is client as well as what? Server. One connection is established. One pipe is created between the client and what is that? Server. That can be called as what? Stream, through which the data can be sent. So socket stream is which implementation here? TCP implementation. Here socket stream is called as TCP implementation. So socket class is used to represent socket object. The default type is what here? TCP. Socket stream, if you write socket stream, it is a TCP. If you are writing socket DGRAM, it is called what? UDP. One is a TCP implementation and one more is what? UDP implementation. So socket dot socket, you are trying to define now type equal to socket stream. So socket class is used to represent socket object. The default type is what here? TCP. So again, it's written here. A socket is an implementation of client, or what is that? Server. It means you will be creating two types of sockets. One is client socket and one more is what? Server socket. You'll be creating how many types of sockets here? Two types of sockets. One is a client socket and one more is what here? Server. One is a client socket and one more is a server socket. Okay. So client socket plug into which one here? Server socket. Client socket plug into which socket here? Server socket. Okay. Yes. So after creating a socket object, you try to bind that socket on a system by giving which one here? Address. Okay. So bind the socket to address. The socket must not already bound. Suppose if the socket is already bind with the same port number, then it will not accept. Because we can have how many programs with the same number? Only one. Not two programs. Then after binding it, now server will accept. Server accept the connection of which one? Client. So accept the connection. The socket must be bound to an address and listening for connections. The return value is what here? Once you say accept, that will return two things. One is connection and address. Here connection is nothing but it will return a new socket object and this socket object represent client. It means server, when I say, when server say accept, it accept the connection of which one? Client. Means that accept will return the socket object and that socket object hold the connection of which one? Client. Okay. And address is the address bound to the socket on the other end of the connection. Other end means what here? Client. Okay. Then after that, how it receive it? By using receive. How it receives it? By using which one? Receive. How much or how many bytes it will receive? How many bytes it will receive? Receive data from the socket. The return value is a bytes object representing the data received. The maximum amount of data to be received at once is specified by what? Buffer size received. Now you'll say no internet. In internet you'll say 1 Mbps, 2 Mbps, 10 Mbps. Okay, that is a number of bytes it receives per second, right? So receive, how many bytes it can receive? And socket means server will listen. So server listens the connection of which one? Client. Server listens the connection of which one? Client. So when it can listen, if listen is enabled, if suppose if I don't say server listen, server cannot listen. If you don't say server listen, server cannot listen. I should say socket dot listen. If I say 10, it can listen how many connections here? 10 connections. How many people can communicate here? 10 people. So backlog is nothing but your number of connections. How many connections it accepts. So that is represented by using what? Backlog. That is represented by using backlog, number of connections. Now see here, how to develop a server. See here, very easy. Now this is which program here? Server program. This is a server program. This is a server program, right? So created which object here? Socket object. And this socket, this is which socket here? Server socket. And what is the port number of server? 60. And this is bind on which system? Current system, local host, or you can give IP address. Local host is what? Host name of the current system. Okay. In this system, it is bind with what port number here? 60. So what is the number of the server? What is the number of the server? 60. The number of the server is 60. And this program is there in which system? This program is running in which system? Local host. Local host means current system. You can give IP address also. Then after that, I am displaying the message, server is running. And then server is running, but it should listen, right? Until unless I don't write listen, server cannot listen. Server cannot listen whom? Clients, right? So to listen, I must write listen. To listen, I must write listen. This server can listen how many connections here? 10 connections. Maximum how many connections it accepts? 10 connections it accepts. If I don't write here listen, it cannot accept any connections. If you want to accept the connections, you have to say what here? Listen, how many connections it accepts? 10 connections. Then how it accept the connection of the client? By using accept. Now when client plug into socket of server, then server socket dot which one here? Accept. So once you say accept, it will return what it returns? See hold what? Connection of which one? Client. Okay. So connection established. And after that I said as dot close. So this is server, right? I just save this. Now you need to run how many programs? 2 programs you have to run, right? So this is some server 1. Now server is running, but waiting for what? Client to connect, right? Then you have to develop which program? Client. So you have to develop a client. So socket dot now client, what client is doing now is creating which object? Client is creating which object? Socket object with the address of server and with port number. So client created socket object with system IP address and what? Server port number. Using this socket object, it'll connect. First is connecting to which one? System. Then connecting to which one? Connecting to the system and connecting to which one? Server. And server will accept connection of which one? Client. So then this accept will return one socket object, right? And this object told address of which object? Client. Now server connected, client connected to the server and server connected to what? Client. Okay. Yes. How client will connect? By using connect. To connect, it should know the address. To connect, it should know what here? Address. If it doesn't know address, it cannot open, right? You can run at the command prompt, or you can open 2 IDLEs. This is one IDLE where which program is running? Server is running, right? You open another IDLE. Open another IDLE. So I try to open how many IDLEs here? 2 IDLEs. One IDLE I open to run which program? Server program. So already one program is running. So I cannot run another program, right? So open one more IDLE. Open one more IDLE and here you write a client program. Here you write which program? Client program. Okay. Now I created socket and socket.connect. You are connecting to the system first and then you are connecting to which program? Server program. So open how many IDLEs here? 2 IDLEs. One IDLE to run the client program. One IDLE is to run the server program. So I'll say run module. Now you can see connection established. It means client is connected to which one here? Server. So you can run like this, or you can go to the command prompt. From command prompt also you can do it. So I saved my program in, this is a location, Python 7 AM. And I just write here Python server 1.py. Now server is running. Open one more command prompt. Okay. Open one more command prompt. So Python 7 AM, open the folder. Then Python client 1.py. Now client is connected to which one? Server. Either you open two IDLEs. Either you open two IDL. In one IDLE you run the client program. In one IDLE you run the server program. Or you open the command prompt and run both the programs. Okay, that is a client program and server. So client is connected to the server and server accept the connection of what? Client. But is it any message is sent? No. I want client should send a message to server. Then what you are saying here? Socket dot send. What you are saying? Socket dot send bytes. So send data to the socket. The socket must be opened. The socket must be what here? Opened. We just established connection, but we have not sent any message, right? Okay. Host name. Port number is user defined here. You give the port number. You give the port number. You give the port number. And if you are working in the company, IP address is given by system administrators. Okay, if you are working in the company, IP address is given by system administrators. You don't give any addresses in company. You don't do any networking related things in company, right? IP addresses and all these things in taken care by network administrators. So we should ask, like they'll give the IP address and everything. Okay, because your system IP address will be 120.0.0.1, or you can also give local host. Okay, you can also give local host. Okay, so anything you can give it. So send is there. Okay, send is there. If it is networking, your current system IP address, you can find from here. Okay, you can find from here, open networking and all the things you can do it. But why? If you give localhost current system, you can work with it, right? Send is there. Now I want to develop a message server. Means a server which receive the message and send a message. Okay, it will receive message. Message is nothing but request. A server which receive the message and send what here? Message. It receive the message and process it and send a message. Request as well as what here? Response. Now you are creating a socket and bind on a local host. What is the port number of server? See, port number is given by you only. Okay, what is the port number of your server? 50. And it can listen how many connections here? 5. Now server is running and accept the connection of what? Client. And this accept will return one tuple. Actually, this accept return one tuple, and this tuple is having connection as well as what? Address. So this connection is whose connection? Client connection. So what is the index of this here? C of 0. C of 0 is a connection of client and C of 1 is the address of client. So I said client equal to C of 0. C of 0 is nothing but socket. It is a socket which hold the connection of client. So once I get the client, client will send data and that data is received by which one? Server. But server is receiving at a time how many bytes here? 1024 bytes. 1024 means 1 KB. 1 KB, 1 kbps. Okay. At a time it receive how many bytes here? 1 KB bytes. Okay, 1024 bytes equal to 1 KB. 1024 KB equal to 1 MB like that, right? So it will receive the data in the form of bytes and you convert that bytes into what? String. You convert that bytes into what here? String by using, now M is nothing but bytes. And you convert that bytes into a string using what? Decode. So decode is a method of bytes which converts bytes into what? String and print a message. Then after that client server is send a message to client. So client, okay, server receive the client message and server send a message to which one? Client. But what is the message here? Hello client. But hello client is a string or not? Yes. You cannot write strings. Networking is a low level stream that will allows only bytes. That allows only which one here? Bytes. It doesn't allow any other type. It doesn't allow any other type. It allows only which one? Bytes. It allows only bytes, but it doesn't allow any other type. So send, what is the message you are sending? Hello client. And this message, which is string, you have to convert into what? Bytes. And how you are converting string to the bytes? By using a method called what? Encode. So encode method converts the string to what here? Bytes. And send it. Okay, send it and close. So only one thing, send, receive. Okay, send and one more is what here? Receive. One is a send and other one is what? Receive. So this will return the client address. Now this is server 2. I'll try to run the server. So Python server 2 dot py. Now server is running. Then is waiting to client to send what here? Message. Client how send a message? First it will create socket and then connect to which one? Server running in your system, current system. What is the message want to send? Hello server. But is it this message is string or not? Yes. You have to convert this string into what? Bytes. Then you have to say message dot which one? Encode. And send socket dot send. What you are sending? Bytes. So we send bytes. Then server receive the bytes and convert into what? String. Decode. So client is sending bytes. Bytes to string. That is done by using decode. And server again send a message. Encode. Must convert into bytes and send it to what? Client. So client is receiving how many bytes? 1024 bytes. And that bytes are decoded into which one? String. And then print the message and close. Now, so send, receive, that's it. So client send a message to the server and server receive the message of client. And again, client send a response back to which one? Client. Server send a message again back to which one? Client. So this is a client 2 and once you run this, oh, already sent, so already running, right? So we'll run here. Otherwise, at the command prompt, already server is running. Python server 2 dot py. So I'm running from command prompt. or you open two IDLEs and run it. So you can see client is send a message to server saying hello server, and server respond back to which one? Client, saying that what? Hello client. So this message is sent by client and this message is sent by whom? Server, right? This message is sent by client and this message is sent by server. Okay. So it's a two-way communication, right? It's a two-way communication. Suppose there is one mathematical server. Suppose assume that there is a math server. What is a math server job is? Receive one command. Okay, client will send, suppose client want to send or client want to do some mathematical, operations. Then he'll send one request to which server? Mathematical server. So what is the port number of this server? 40. And math server is running while true means infinite. This loop is keep on executing, right? And server accept the connection of client. Accept will return a tuple which contain the address of client, which contain the socket of client, connection of client and address. So I take client connection and receive the data and decode. And this one decode. Now how client will send a data like this? Client will send 10, 20 plus. So what client is saying? I want to add these two numbers. Then you are trying to split this. What you are doing? You are trying to split this string into how many strings? 3 strings. What is the first value? Number. What is the second value? Number. What is the third value? Operator. So if operator is a plus, it is adding. If the operator is a minus, it's subtracting. If the operator is a star, multiplying. If the operator is a slash, dividing. Else invalid operator. Then after that you are saying result equal to, result is n3. Now this is one string, right? Now you are encoding this particular string and send it to which one? Client. So this is nothing but result. Result is string, but we cannot write a string. We have to convert the string into what here? Bytes. We have to convert this string into the bytes. Now this is which server here? Math server, which will do all mathematical operations. This is simple case study kind of thing. Math dot is running. So who will send a request to this math server? Client. Who will send a request to the math server? So there is a math client is there. There is a math client. So how client is sending a message? Enter command. What is the command? You enter the command like this. I want to add two numbers. You'll send like this. Client will send like this. 10, 20 plus. This is one string, right? And this string you convert into what? Bytes. And send that bytes to which one? Server. And server receive that bytes and convert into what? String and split it. And based on the operator, it do operation and send a result to which one? Client. Client will receive the result and decode that result and display it. So this is client, right? How client is sending it? So server is running. Server is running and this is a client. You can develop charting server also. Okay. Client 3.py. Enter command 10, 20 plus. So result is what? 30. Who's giving this result? Server, right? Client 10, 5, multiply. What is the result? 50. Who's given this result? Server. Okay. Now suppose 5 to star star. Star star is done by server? No. There is no operation done by which one? Server. There is no operation done by which one? Server. Okay. Yes. Okay, there's no operation for which one? Server. Okay, there's no operation for which one? Server. Now what will happen? Result is invalid operator. Result is which operator here? Invalid operator. Okay, yes. Now this is how you are trying to work with the TCP implementation. So this is how you develop it. Okay, this is how you work with the socket. Now there are two types of sockets. One is a client socket and one more is what? Server socket. Client socket and one more is which socket? Server socket. So what is this question is here? Where will we integrate all the source code to production? See, there is a product based products. Okay, see, if you're developing web application, you'll have a production environment. Okay, if it is a web application, you'll have a development environment and production environment. If it is a product, you don't have any production environment. Okay, now, okay, if it is a product, suppose you develop one game. Game is a product, you sell it. Game is a product, you sell it. Okay, so there is no production in that. Okay, if it is a web application, you'll find two environments: development environment server and deployment environment server. The deployment environment is called production environment. Okay, if it is one product, no, suppose you develop a game, you develop one GUI application, that is standalone application, right? For that, you don't have any production environment. Okay, yes. If it is a web applications like Django or any other thing, then you'll have a production environment, but not for standalone applications. These are standalone applications which are installed in your system and executed from your system. Okay, right. So if you want to put this product in a, then you can put in so many environments are there. Like if the company is having their own cloud architecture, they can put in cloud, right? That depends on, right? Right. The next one is, yes. Yes. Now, so there is one simple project is there. I'll upload this. Okay, because you already know the Python. So you have to go through this complete project here. So there is one project here. It's the academic level project, not real time project. It's academic level. So I'll try to upload this zip file. So you find this zip file. You have to unzip. Okay, double click. So by using which one it will unzip? WinRAR. WinRAR will be there. So you have to unzip this. Select this folder and say extract to. Okay. So it will extract to one folder called banking. So this is a folder in which it is extracted. So this is one simple application. Simple banking application. Simple banking application. So there is one program here. One program is there. What is that program? What is this py file? GUI banking, right? So first open IDLE banking application. A simple banking application it is. Open this. So where is that folder? Desktop banking, right? What is this here? Banking. What is the name of the file? Program is what? GUI banking system. Open this. If you run this, now you can find a simple banking system. Okay, so this banking system, what this banking system is doing it? It is a simple banking system. It's a simple banking application. What it is doing is trying to perform certain things like opening what account, and then providing which one login, and providing which one debits, providing which one credit, providing which one viewing balances, and providing which one passbook printing. So how many operations your banking application is doing? 6 operations is doing it. One is opening the account and providing a login and debit. So that is withdraw and credit, deposit. So debit, withdraw, credit, deposit, check the balance, and printing the passbook. So these operations your application is doing it. But where you are storing all this into one files, it is storing in what files, not in the database. If you want, you can convert this into database, but this application I developed using which one? Files. So for every customer, two files will be there. How many files will be there? Two files. One is called as a master file. One more called as which one? Details file. So these files are created with account number. These files are created with what here? Account number. Now these files are created with account number. And here account number is generated automatically. Account number generated automatically. So for every customer, how many files will be created? Two files. One is a master file and one more is what? Details file. Master files and detail files. It will be created with what here? Account number. Now you can see in this folder you find it. This is a account number. File is created with what? Account number. So this is a master file. What it is having? PIN number. This is PIN number. 1, 2, 3, 4 is what? PIN number. 520 is what? Balance. And this is what? Account number. This is a name. Name of the customer. And transactions will be there in this file. Record. So there is a date and credit as well as what? Debit and remaining balance. So for every customer, it will create two files. For every customer, it will create. Now this is PIN number and this is a balance and this is what? Account number and this is name. And for the details will be stored in this. Whenever you do deposit or withdraw, so that details will be stored in which one? Record file. And this both the files are created with what name? Account number. There is one account record which is having a last account number. Which account number is there? Last account number. It means whenever you create a new account, last account number is read from which one? Account record and plus last account is read from which one? Account record plus 1. So that is a new account number. And that new account number again it is updated in what? Account record. So there will be two files created. One is a master file and one more is what? Details file. What master file is having? PIN number, balance, account number and name. What details will I have? Date, time, what is that? Debit, what is that? Credit. These things will be there in which one? Details file. Okay. So two files will be created for every customer. One is a master file and one more is what? Details file. Master file and one more is what? Details file. So if you see this now first is here. This is one function called write. There is a function called which one? Write. Write function is there, and this write function will receive the address of master window. It will receive the address of window and name, opening credit balance and PIN. It will receive name, opening credit balance and PIN. So this write function is for creating account. This write function is for creating account. So before that, it will verify, is it name is proper or not? Is it opening credit balance is proper or not? Suppose if you enter name in numbers, it should not allow. If opening credit balance is alphabets, it should not allow. So this is for checking what here? This is for checking what here? Validation. Is it input data is valid or not? Right? So here we display the message and then we destroy this particular window. Otherwise, if it is everything is fine, otherwise it will return to the caller. It will return to which function? Calling function. Now, if it is everything is valid, you open which one? Account record dot txt. This is account record. This account record is having which number? Last account number. You read this last account number. You read this last account number using read line. Files. If you remember files, this is files only. Okay, plus 1. Added 1, 1. 1 is added. Means, what is the last account number here? Some 5010. 5010 plus 1 becomes what? 5011. That is a new account number. Again, open the file and write this account number into the file. This new account number will be right in which file? Account record file. Because this account number will become the last account number for what? Next account number. Okay. Yes. Then after that, I said for every customer, it will create how many files? 2 files. One is master and one more is what? Details. But it will create a file with what number? Account number. See. Open str of account number. Means you are trying to open the file with what number? Account number. Dot txt in which mode? Write mode. What you are writing inside this PIN? Opening credit balance. You are writing account number. You are writing which one? Name. You are creating another file. What is this file now? Details file. That is str of account number hyphen record dot txt. This is also open in which mode? Right. So what you are writing inside this? Date, credit. Now, this is what formatting date and time. You're displaying year, month, date, hours, minutes, and what? Seconds. Okay. You are trying to enter this along with the, is it credit or debit? Credit. So how much credit? Balance. That is written inside what? Transaction. And you'll get the message details. Your account number is, your account number is, now this is your account number. So you are not entering any date and time. The date and time is, which date and time is taken? System date and time is taken. Okay, now this is the first one. When you say create new account, if you click on create new account and when you click on submit, so all this data is sent to which function? Write function. So where you are trying to enter name of the person, credit balance, PIN number, okay, PIN number and submit. Now 5011 is created or not? Yes. Account, one more account is created here. So this is 5011 And is it credited how much here? 90,000. So account record is having 5011. If you create another account 5011 plus 1, that will become 5012. Okay. Yes. Now log in, enter the name. What is the name here? Suresh. Enter the account number. Now 63. Now you should know account number, right? 6371 0001 5011, and PIN number also you should know it. Then click on which one? Submit. Now here login. This is a label only. All these are what here? Buttons. On buttons you display not text. You display what? Image. Okay, image. Now credit amount in your account. Credit amount in your account. Now credit right. See here. There is a credit right. Credit right is used for doing which operation here? Credit operation. If you want to credit, first you have to open which file? Master file. You open the file with what name? Account number. Is open in which mode here? Read. What is the first line in the master file? PIN. What is the second line? Amount, balance. What is the second line? Balance. And then this is the amount. Credit means deposit, right? Deposit means you add, what is that? What is that? Balance plus amount to be deposit. So this is a current balance. Then you are writing this current balance into the master file. Again, you open the same account and you write a PIN and current balance and account number and name. And in details file, now you need to append. In details file, what you have to do? Append. A plus. A is nothing but what? Append. Which one you are appending? This transaction you are appending it. How much amount is credit? Some 50,000 or 70,000, whatever it is. So that amount will be added, right? So operation is successful. That is when you say credit amount, enter the amount to be credit. So 10,000 I want to credit. So you can see amount credited successfully. Then if you see this master file, balance is 1 lakh. Okay, balance is 1 lakh, and one more transaction is added because this file is opened in which mode? Append mode. This file is opened which mode? Append mode. Now debit amount, not debit. Now there is one more function. What is that? Another function? Debit. So again you open the account in read line, and you read current balance and you check whether it is the amount what you are withdrawing. The amount what you are withdrawing is greater than current balance. You are displaying a message. You don't have enough balance. Otherwise, you try to subtract and you update in the which file? Master file with the current balance, and this transaction will be added into which file? Transaction file. Very simple. Okay. File open, read, write. Because already we did with the files. Now 25,000 I want to debit. So debit, amount is debited successfully. Now go to this file. How much balance now? 75,000. Previously 1 lakh. Now debited 25,000. Balance is what? 75,000 is added. Append means nothing but adding. That's it. See, this is how functions are. What is this first function here? First function is opening account. What is the second function here? Crediting. What is the third function here? Debit. Okay, what is the next function? Suppose I want to see the balance. I want to see the balance, then I click on check balance. How much balance is there? 75,000. If I want to view all the passbook, transaction history, these are credits and this is what here? Debit. And what is the balance available? 75,000. So you are getting these details from which file? Transaction file. You are getting these details from which file? Transaction file. This is credit amount. This is creating what? Window. Creating which window? Credit amount window. If I click on this, you get this window, right? This is credit amount window. If I click on this, this is which one? Debit amount window. So there is a function credit amount window. Okay. This is a window. Now pack. Now once you click on this button, when you click on this button, you are calling which function? See, when you click on this button, you are calling which function? See here. When you click on this button, you are calling which function here? Credit write function by sending current window and e1 dot get account number, and one more is what? Name. Okay. In the same way, debit amount. Now this is debit amount window. Credit amount window, debit amount window. Now this is displaying the balance. Where will be the balance in accounts master? First one is, what is the first one in this file? PIN number. We don't want PIN number, right? We want which one? Balance. You take the balance and display the balance. If you want to see the history, transaction history, so you are trying to display this in one frame. From where you are reading all this? You are reading all this from which file? You are reading all this from which file? Records file. And you are displaying all this in one message, as one message. And if you say quit, it will destroy the current window. So logged in menu. This is logged in. So same thing, labels. And if you want to display the image, first you create image. How you create image? By using photo image. And what is the name of the file? Credit.zip. This image you are displaying on what? Button. You are displaying this on button. So tk.button, what you are displaying on the button? Image, not a text. Not a text. Now this is the size of the image. This is the size of the image. Subsample is nothing but size of the image. Size of the image, right? And when you click on this button, you are calling this function. Credit amount, that will display window. Debit amount, that will display window. Display balance is a function. Display transaction, again it is what? Function. It's the same like what we have seen, right? So photo image to represent image, and this is to define what? Size, and you are displaying the image. And raised means it will display in 3D format. Raised means it will display in which format? Button, 3D format. Now you are trying to place these buttons in specific positions by giving X position as well as what? Y positions. Whatever it is there, what we learn till now, all the things are implemented. Now in this application, what I used, files I use. What I used here is files I used, but what is your job is convert this from files to backend what? Database. Okay, that is your job. You have to convert this from files to what? Database. Okay, if you do that, then you know something about Python. Otherwise, nothing. Okay, so just practice more on this. But this particular project I'll be uploading, but in which format? Zip format. I'll be uploading this project in which format? Zip format. Zip means like this. Okay, you have to download. You cannot open in Drive. In Classroom, you cannot open. Don't open in Classroom, right? It is a zip file. Download this first. Download this and unzip. Select this folder and what do you say? Extract. If you say extract, you will get one folder. And in this, you have to run which program? Which program? GUI banking system. Okay. And even I'll try to upload some sample resumes. Okay. Some sample resumes I'll try to upload. And you have some frequently asked questions in Telegram. Already I placed this in Telegram. Frequently asked questions. In Telegram, just go to files. Okay, go to files. If you go to files, right, you can find out questions. Top 40 Python interview question and answers. And even you can also find resumes also. Resume 1, resume 2, resume 3. Okay, Python question bank. Okay, Python question bank. And you can also find Python tips PDF and top 100 Python questions dot PDF. Okay, data analysis using pandas. Okay, Python cheat sheet, top 100 Python questions, data science interview questions, list programs for practicals. Okay, yes. Okay, all this you can find in files. In files, you have all this. Okay, so Python question bank. Python question bank. Okay, yes. So you can find all this in the Telegram. And regarding certificate, now you can collect your certificate from the office. And online students, if you are in the city, you come and collect it. If you come personally, it will be over. Suppose if you want to apply online, I'll provide a link, but that will take some 2 to 3 months. 3 months minimum it will take to get the certificate. 3 months minimum it will take to get the certificate. 3 months it will take to bytes. I say no. String dot encode. Encode will return what? Bytes. Encode will return what? Bytes only, right? Encode will return bytes. Okay. Encode will return bytes in networking. Okay. No. Django introduction. When you learn Django, you learn, right? Okay. What do you do with the introduction? Yes. So Django is a web framework. What do you do with your Pushpa Raja? When you join Django, you learn Django, right? Okay. Yes. Now try to practice. And if any the Django introduction means, I can give you here. What is Django means? It is a web application framework like that. What is the process? I'll just put one link in the Google Classroom. I'll put the link. You apply. And I said, no, that will take minimum 3 months. Minimum 3 months. Okay. Anita, minimum 3 months it will take. Okay. I don't know why these people will take a lot of time. GitHub is a version controlling tool. Version controlling tool. Yes. If you want to maintain the versions of your project, you maintain different versions of your project in GitHub. Is a repository. Okay, right? As a version controlling tool. Yeah, you can collect your certificate. Tomorrow you come with your that is what ID card, ID proof and fees receipt, everything, then they'll provide it. It will take 1 day or some. Okay. Okay, right. Right. Thank you. Now, today's, yes, online student get certificate from institute. Yes. If you are there in the city, you can collect from office. That is very good. Yeah, if you want to connect, online student can get certificate from institute. I'll upload that link in the Google Classroom. You just apply. It will take minimum 2 to 3 months. Minimum. I said minimum 2 to 3 months. I don't know why this management people is taking more time. I don't know, but it will take minimum 2 to 3 months. So if you have any technical questions and other things, you can mail me. This is my mail ID. You can just mail me. This is my mail ID. Okay, you can just send a mail, right? So almost, I think it took 3.5 months. 3.5 months, I suppose. 3.5 months or 4 months. Almost 4 months, I think. Yes. But you have to practice. 3.5 months or 4 months I take. But I try to give maximum examples, right? So, but you have to practice, not just listening and asking questions, right? You have to practice. If you practice, then you'll get more knowledge. Without practicing, you don't get anything, right? You start practicing again from beginning onwards. Start practicing from beginning onwards and refresh all the topics so that you'll be knowing what you learn, right? Right. Anyway, thank you. Now this is the last class, and I'll try to place these documents and project in the Google Classroom. Okay. If anything is there, you send a mail, right? Even I'll try to upload the how to apply the certificate. Online students, you can apply and you can get digital certificate, but that will take minimum 2 to 3 months. 3 months it will take minimum. Maximum, I don't know, right? Yes. But if you are in the city, you can come and collect, right? So thank you.